Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. When I say the world is running out of silver, I'm not exaggerating to even the slightest bit. When you hear someone say there's a silver shortage, I don't think people understand that the shortage part means that soon there literally won't be any silver left. This isn't a myth, this isn't even a theory. I'm about to show you the actual numbers, the evidence that backs what I'm saying. So, with that said, let's go. The world is years away from running out of silver. Oh boy, do I have a good video for you guys today. This is going to be a goodie. Now, this article was written a couple of years ago, so they're talking about a silver crisis building by 2020. And that's a very important thing to note because since we're in 2020, we can compare to what they're saying a couple of years ago, and they were spot on. We are already seeing the consequences, the effects of a silver shortage today. That's why you're seeing $15, $20 premiums on an American Eagle. This should be sold at spot price. That's scarcity. That's because there's not enough silver. So, with that said, this is going to be, and I chose this article on purpose, link will be in the description. I chose this article on purpose because now we can bridge the gap. It's almost like we've time traveled. We can go in the perspective of them writing this article back in 2016 and see what has happened during that 4 years and also compare that to what's happening next since we have more insight. So this is going to be a very good video. You got to be subscribed, not for my sake, for your sake. You got to know this stuff. You got to be informed on a daily basis, right? You cannot be blindly investing. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. The global silver market could face a deficit of 126 million ounces by 2020. It could send silver prices surging. So, as the market fixates on the price of oil and other real assets, a dramatic scenario is building in the silver market. More than 2 billion ounces of silver have disappeared from the market over the last 10 years, and we could be facing an annual shortage of more than 100 million ounces by 2020. Now, this was prime time when things started to get to, and this is also going to be a great video because since I'm kind of like a history buff when it comes to like silver and numbers and all that stuff. I can kind of let you guys know the context of what's happening during this time, back then, and compare it to now as well. So this is right in the beginning when miners really started not caring about silver for the last like 7 years. For the last 7 years, when they're saying even 10 years before this, but for the last 7 years, it got even worse. Miners don't care about silver. There's no silver mines. There's only a few. Miners are looking for gold, lead, and zinc, right? They're looking for things that are going to put money in their pocket, which makes sense. Why would you look for silver that's 80 times less valuable than gold, right? From a business standpoint, it does make sense to look for gold. Silver is actually pretty hard to find anyways, and if it's only $15, $20 an ounce, why would you waste your time looking for that when you can look for gold that's $1,500, $2,000 an ounce? You get what I'm saying? Silver is found as a byproduct. Basically, it's found by accident. They're looking for gold, but if they find some silver, they'll take it. And not only that, this article obviously did not know there would be a global pandemic drastically hurting the production of not only silver but gold and everything. Mexico and Peru that accumulate 40% of the global silver supply was ground to a halt. Mines were shut down. Even when mines opened back up, limited workers, right? There was all these there's so many borders and boundaries, and the shippings and all that was all out of whack. So we definitely got hit harder, and like I keep saying, this pandemic has sped things up times 10 to get worse. What I mean by that is, yes, there was a silver shortage. We knew it was coming. Yes, the dollar was collapsing. We knew it was coming. But this pandemic has made everything just happen a lot quicker, and it caught us off guard. So now we got to be on our toes. We got to be on our A game because things are going to get a lot more serious, a lot quicker than anyone is even going to realize. And I don't think anyone is expecting it to be as bad as it gets, is hard and as real. A lot of people think or live in this fantasy like, oh, they say this stuff, but it's probably not going to happen, or it might not be that bad. But you got to expect the unexpected, especially as an investor. So not only is the demand for silver surging and the annual supply growth going nowhere, but much of our available silver is being buried in public landfills. And it's a great point. I'm really glad they said this. This is something I say, but not a lot of people mention. A lot of silver is lost. It's lost in technology. Silver is an industrial metal. It's used in all this, technology and all these gadgets. But nobody's scrapping the silver out of these gadgets because it doesn't make any money to do so. With gold, you can make some money doing that. I used to scrap gold out of laptops and cell phones myself. You can make some money doing that because gold is expensive. Silver, though, to spend an hour or two scrapping silver out of a laptop and go take it and get $1.50 at most, nobody's doing that. So most silver is thrown away. So the recirculating supply of silver is very low, where the recirculating supply of gold is pretty high because gold is used for jewelry, coins, bars, necklaces. So people resell that gold and gets remelted. So a lot of gold is recirculated while silver's not. So as a major component in batteries, CDs, circuit boards, and other electronics, people are literally throwing their silver in the trash. That may be something they soon regret as the world runs out of silver and prices skyrocket. Now, and this article didn't even know this back then because this was before green energy. So not only is the production getting cut back, ground to a halt, now we have this green energy revolution where silver demand is booming. Electric vehicles, 5G towers, 5G, technology, and also solar panels, silver ion batteries. I mean, silver is used for so many things now as we advance technologically, but the supply is diminishing. So demand is exploding, supply is diminishing. You're going to see, and we're starting to see the first consequences of it. Even as our supply of silver disappears from the market, demand is building every year. And they had no idea what it's going to, if they only knew how crazy it would be nowadays. Demand for silver is mostly from three important categories: investment, jewelry, and industrial. These three categories make up 95% of silver demand, and they are all growing at a strong rate every year. Demand for all these major uses of silver has increased over the last 5 years since 2009. But the real story is in the growth, investment, industrial uses. Silver is definitely an industrial metal now. Investors have rushed to silver as central bankers around the world print money to cover spending, destroying the real value of currencies. Demand for silver coins and bars has jumped at an annual pace of 17.5% over the period. So, see, even years before the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, we knew the financial system was collapsing. Now, throw in a global pandemic and trillions of dollars in stimulus. I mean, this is the time is coming. Once that stimulus comes out, it's happened. The dollar's gone. I mean, I don't see how, in my right mind, in my rational brain, how the dollar, when I say 98%, I'm not exaggerating. The dollar has literally lost 98% of its purchasing power. Not 99%, not 97%. Right now, it's lost 98%. 44% in the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, 2 decades, silver's lost 44%. So, throw in trillions of dollars in stimulus to hurt the dollar index even more, meaning massive overprinting of money, meaning it makes the dollar even weaker. It's going to be 99 to 100%. It's done. Look at cashless nations. Look at these countries now where they literally don't use fiat currency. A lot of countries actually use Bitcoin, or they carry their money in trash bags because their dollar bill is so worthless. It takes hundreds of their dollars to buy something that's like $10. It would be like a $1 bill having the purchasing power of like 20 cents. So if you want to go buy something for $15, you have to hand over. They literally carry their money in trash bags and weigh their money on scales instead of count it out because it would take too long. That's how deflated their dollars are. And the only reason America's not there yet is because we're wealthier. And the only reason we're wealthier is because we own the most gold. It's the only reason America is the richest country. We own the most gold. So anyways, demand for silver coins jumped 63% to a record 65 million ounces in 2008 as the global financial system collapsed. The market meltdown sent silver up 37% from 2008 to 2010. That's obviously when silver was $50 in 2011. So silver supply is shaky and the supply shocks abound. I mean, in comparison to the rapidly rising demand for silver, especially in investment industrial uses, the annual supply is much more questionable. So low supply, high demand shoots the price up. Producers turning into the consumers, consumers turning into the producers. What that means is people like you and I that are buying the silver, we're going to be selling it to the selling our silver to the people that need it. Who needs it? Well, if you want the newest, latest iPhone to come out, you better hope that they need it, or that they want it. If people who want it will be selling it to people who need it, because once silver gets that scarce, the things that silver is used in gadgets and technology will still need to be made, right? Nothing can replace silver. It's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. Nothing can replace silver. So as we advance and more gadgets come out, silver is still going to be needed and at a rapidly increasing rate. But the supply is diminishing, so people that hold this silver, we have the power. So even if it gets to $100, they're still going to buy it. You better hope they buy it. They're still going to buy it at any price. So we will have the power to say what price it is. And if you don't believe me, go on eBay and look at the prices of these American Eagles now. People are still buying them even though people list them at $35, and that's because they have the power. If someone wants that coin, even no matter what the price is listed at, if they want the coin, they're going to buy it because that's the new demand and that's the new price. So the bigger the story in the supply picture, though, is the complete sellout of government holdings. Governments around the world were sold 44 million ounces of silver in 2010. I would love to compare these to the new numbers. I mean, the silver. I just made a video a week ago. The Silver Institute posted the numbers for 2020, and I can't remember how much different they were than these. Usually I'm good at this stuff. This is the first time I think on this channel I've ever said I don't know. I forget. That's crazy because I'm a numbers guy. When I read something and it gets in my mind, I'll remember it forever. But for some reason, the Silver Institute video I made last week, I cannot remember how much bigger or how much worse it's getting since then, which is a critical thing. Come on, Slayer. You're slacking, Slayer. Go check out that video, though, if you want to compare them. Maybe after this video, I'll go check it out, for the sake of my next couple videos. But I know things have gotten a lot worse, though. And I can tell you that because I specifically remember in the Silver Institute mention, how we're setting record highs. The U.S. Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, the Perth Mint, they're all setting record-breaking highs with sales, like up 78%. Stuff like that people can't even comprehend. And that's why the U.S. Mint's putting out the million minted supply of San Francisco Mint Eagles. San Francisco Mint Eagles. There's only 1 million minted, but they're throwing them out as an emergency supply. So as the price of silver and other metals has come down over the past few years, miners have drastically pulled back on their development spending, right? Because why would they? If silver's only $10, $15, that's cheap. It's not going to make them much money. So where does our silver come from? Mexico and Peru, obviously, which we've been saying, and those were the two countries that got hit really hard from the pandemic. And yeah, I mean, it's really Mexico and Peru, and China. I mean, Chile is up more now. Places like that. So I'm trying to find the good parts right here. So we already know all this stuff. So peak silver and surging prices. The silver market is perennially in deficit with demand outstripping supply by millions of ounces, right? That's a lot. I mean, by the hundreds of millions of ounces over the last 7 years itself. Silver supplies from mining has peaked. So we can get, so article was written in 2016. Over the last 7 years, it's now hundreds of millions of ounces in the red. So after this article was written, things already got a lot worse. So if these trends in silver supply and demand continue, we'll face a dramatically worsening scenario in just a few years and could run out of silver by 2020. I mean, look, We literally are. U.S. Mint ran out of American Eagles. Royal Canadian Mint shut down for 2 weeks. I mean, they're pretty much spot on. I mean, yes, there's still some silver left, but it's scarce enough. It's definitely in a drought that's far enough to already start putting amazingly high premiums on bullion coins that should be sold at spot price. The above ground inventory of silver stood at 1,808 million ounces in 2014. More than 635 million ounces of this was held by ETFs. Those holdings won't be available for use as investors will hold on their silver, guarding silver prices climb higher. That, which is a good point. And a lot of the silver that people own isn't even available because it's the digital side. So there's not even the real silver, the physical silver. And that's also why you need to buy physical silver. If you don't own it, you don't hold it. If you don't own it, or if you can't hold it, you don't own it, right? And the growing problem of scarcity will send silver prices surging to convince investors to sell their holdings to industrial users. And that's what I was saying. Producers turn to consumers, consumers turn to producers. That's exactly what I was saying, and I've actually never heard anyone else mention that until this article. So it's really cool that people, even back in 2016, had the same perspective as me, because I swear on everything, I've never heard anyone else mention that producers turn into consumers thing, but they just they say it right here. So that's a lot of insight from them. I shouldn't be saying that, because me as a small YouTuber shouldn't be saying I've never heard anyone say that, especially with the amount of articles I go over on a daily basis, but it's true. That's why you're subscribed though, right? So the silver shortage will affect nearly every aspect of your life, causing shortages and higher prices in home goods. And that's the thing, right? If you want the newest, latest iPhone to come out at a relatively affordable price, you better hope they buy silver, right? The only way to protect yourself and even benefit from the coming crisis will be to add silver to your portfolio. So as silver crisis develops, holding the metal may evolve from an investment to a necessity to protect against runaway prices and uncertainty. So it is definitely, and if they only knew that there would be a global pandemic in the year 2020, if they only knew, man, would this article be a lot more interesting. But on a real note though, I mean, this only shows the severity. Even back then, even 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, things were already extreme. Things were already severe. So think about how much more severe they are now. When we're saying that there's a shortage, this isn't just a new thing that people started realizing. This has been going on. So imagine how close to the edge we are. The ice is breaking through. You're so close to falling through in that freezing cold river. The cracks are already happened. You're basically, like the river has already cracked so much. There's a little bit of water seeping through the cracks, and your feet the bottom of your shoes are already starting to get wet. That's where we're at right now. We are so close to falling through that ice, and I promise you 2021 is going to be the year, and the cause of it is going to be that stimulus word, that $1 trillion stimulus word. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. I post daily videos, 2 videos today. I usually post 2 videos a day. One video around 2 o'clock-ish, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, EST, 2 p.m. EST, and then the second video is usually around like 8-ish, 9-ish, right? I try to space them out so you guys have time to watch the one, and then at night, before you get in bed, the second one comes out, right? So you start your day, make your breakfast, go do your errands, and the video comes out, you can watch it, let people catch up on it throughout the day, and then at night, before bed, get in your bed, get tucked in, then you got your second video. Every single day, expect the videos around those times. Sometimes a third video. Sometimes in that gap, I'll still post another video if there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Because I find every single article I go over, everything I talk about is relevant. I'm never going to talk about stuff you don't need to know, right? I'm never going to tell you something you don't need to hear. Everything I say is directly to the point, and it's valuable information. So when I say subscribe, I'm not saying it because I want more subscribers. I'm saying it because I really want you guys to get this daily dose of information, especially with how much stuff is going on nowadays. So thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.